Many ornamental stones really do lend themselves to looking like jade. This is where it's really cool having them all together, because we'll be able to measure one against another and pick them apart.
Hey guys, you've got Rebecca and Charles here. Charles is a gemologist on staff here. We're super lucky to have him because he has a wealth of knowledge. We've got a bunch of green gems here on the table. I've been told that at least one is jade, but many of them are not. And so in this episode, we're gonna dive in and discover which ones are which. One that immediately caught my eye is this carved sphere. The incredible thing about this is that there are these carvings in the middle too.
Yeah.
And how that was done, I have no idea.
That there is steatite, so that's a soapstone, a variety of talc, really low on the hardness scale.
Soft. You actually have to be really careful from a scratching perspective with steatite or soapstone.
And that there would actually be extremely easy to carve. And where I come from in Zimbabwe, soapstone carving is of huge cultural importance.
Okay. What would be like your telltale sign this is not jade?
The luster isn't great, fairly dull. Quite often those things they'll polish just with regular floor polish, so you'll smell it. Primarily you'd pick it up and it would immediately feel kind of warm to the touch. Mm-hmm. It's quite a warm stone.
We didn't use any fancy equipment to figure that out. We just used our sight and our senses. Let's go to this one. Again, we're talking about green gems, but these are very different. This is more like an olivey green. This is definitely a yellow green with a lot of other very dark green or black material.
So that's epidote. Epidote is actually a supergroup of minerals.
So that identification for you, is that based off the color and the modeling there?
Yes, that mottling is pretty indicative, particularly the other side, that mix in there. Once you've seen a few different jadeites, you can kind of tell the mix and the mottling is just not quite right.
There's something about it, maybe it's like the lime green nature, but it feels very like lizardy or snake-like to me. Okay, let's just kind of, go in succession here. This one, again, it's a slightly different green. It still has a pretty strong yellow component.
So that's a really interesting piece of material. That is serpentinite or serpentine, and that contains lizardite. The other component, turn it over, and yes, there, I'm getting the shimmer there. I think that is probably Chrysotile.
Okay.
Which is a variety of asbestos.
Yes.
And
should I be touching this?
It is not the worst form of asbestos. We're not rubbing clothes against it. Now that rock, it is formed by a process that is called serpentinization. Tend to form at the edges of our crustal zones. It is a mineral that is pretty exciting because of the age. It is not as hard as the epidote. It's not going to polish up quite as nicely. A greasy luster again, but it's a very interesting mineral specimen.
Another kind of lime greenish material. This looks very similar to that.
Yes, it is indeed. It is the same material. So you see how well that particular piece is polished.
Yeah.
It's got no chrysotile in it. It would maybe be from an area like that. It's just polished up quite nicely.
So I think for me, visually, from an identification standpoint, the color of green, that specific color is kind of a giveaway to me.
But remember, jade comes in all colors.
Okay.
The most desirable form is that really gorgeous apple green imperial jade. It is super rare, it is super expensive, and even regular jade is expensive. So something that comes close to a less than desirable jade color that can still be mistaken for jade is still very appealing to a lot of people.
Okay, let's move to this one.
That's got quite a good luster, even though it is quite clearly worn down a bit. So that's just a glass. That's green slag.
Okay, green slag.
Sounds awful. It is really interesting because it was a byproduct of the smelting of iron. In Victorian Britain, it was actually used for lamps. Old chandeliers and so on were made of it as well.
I love it. There's a use for everything.
If we look and see if there's any fracturing there, is there conchoidal fracture? Yeah, there we have some conchoidal fracture. With something that has a fibrous or a hackly texture like our jadeite and nephrite. That would be the big difference. Where it's been fractured, we can get a look at the underlying structure a little bit.
You bring up a good point. So fracture, how something breaks, is very important when it comes to identifying a lot of these because it can reveal the underlying structure or texture, so to speak. Jade and a lot of its simulants have very different structure. Okay, so one of my favorite types of quartz is Aventurine quartz. I think it's really cool how this type of quartz gets its color, and it is also a jade simulant. So when I saw this, I thought, okay, this is Aventurine quartz, and it looks like this is as well. It has inclusions of mica in it.
Correct. It's a bit of a shimmer that you're getting off these inclusions. So technically, it's clear quartz with inclusions of a kind of mica called Fuchsite. Chromium gives it its coloration. It's very diagnostic to look at it through a loupe and give it a little bit of a backlight, and you should be able to spot these little bits and pieces in it.
So Aventurine actually is colorless,
Yes.
but the inclusions of this type of mica provide its green color.
Yes. And it's absolutely beautiful because it's got a hardness that lends itself to a good number of jewelry applications.
That's always a fun one for me.
Yes, it is indeed.
Okay, let's look at this cabochon.
It's a lovely green, isn't it?
It's very pretty.
That is chrysoprase, and what gives it away to me is probably that color. Good chrysoprase has this amazing, soft, smooth, velveteen look to it. It doesn't react to light in the same way an equivalent green in jade would. Jadeite, once it's that sort of color, it is becoming very expensive, and its reaction to light is a little different. It will start to almost glow, almost throb with light. Chrysoprase is not quite there, but it's still absolutely beautiful, and it was a hugely important gemstone. A lot of the royal houses in Europe had very significant pieces made. Really, it's the color. I mean, just look at that. Isn't that just extraordinary?
And evenness of color too.
Yes, that's a very good quality piece as well. That's quite an expensive little piece, but something you wouldn't be sorry to have in your collection.
And in fact, many of these things you can have in your collection. A lot of these are on sale. We'll put the links in the description so you can check those out. So this one has caught my eye the whole time.
That one's not for sale, that's mine.
Okay, so you can't have this one.
So that is really interesting. It is peculiar. I couldn't figure out what that was. Is that a woodpecker feeding a young woodpecker in a nest or something like that? But you can see the differential absorption, the ability for the dye to go into certain places and not others in the marble.
When you think of marble, typically you think of this pure white. This is dyed, and one of the ways to identify these stones is again using a loupe to see how the dye is incorporated into the material.
That blotchiness, when you look at it close up, it's absorbed it through cracks and whatnot, and it's spread out a little bit into the surrounding stone, but not that far.
So this piece next to it, I don't think is the same material. You do still have that like white base
Yes.
with green modeling.
That is Mariposite.
Oh, like Mariposa County?
Yeah, it contains the same form of green mica that you're seeing in the Aventurine quartz, but instead of being in a clear quartz, it's in a marble. So that is marble dyed, that is marble with natural green mineral through it.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to the jade yet. So my guess is that the jade is hanging out over here.
It is.
We'll go with this guy. So
Well, that guy was put there to fool you.
It has curved banding to it, so I thought maybe it was like a type of onyx or chalcedony.
It's just a dyed chalcedony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that just shows you what a wonderful jade simulant dyed chalcedony can be.
It's very
look
good.
at that green, it's absolutely gorgeous.
So these are pretty cold.
Yeah, it's a green onyx.
Okay,
so
green,
it's
yeah.
also dyed. It's almost too green in some ways.
Not that natural untreated jade can't be nice and vibrant, but this is a particularly fun
Yes.
color. So by process of elimination, this sphere, which is super cold
Yep.
and pretty dense, I'm gonna say that this is a type of jade.
It is. That is a piece of nephrite.
What some people may or may not know is that there are two types of jade, jadeite jade and nephrite jade.
Yes.
They're both silicates.
Yes.
Jadeite is a sodium aluminum,
Yes.
and nephrite is a calcium magnesium.
Yes.
Nephrite, correct me if I'm wrong, tends to have I don't want to say a duller green, but maybe a little bit earthier of a green.
Yes, yeah.
And not quite yellow-green as serpentine.
But if you have a close look at the texture, if you can get the light right on that, you'll maybe spot that it's extremely tight. Very, very tough material.
So when you're talking about structure, nephrite is considered what you call more fibrous?
Yeah, the one is a little more fibrous and interlocking than the other.
And you've mentioned a few times that bright, vibrant green of jadeite jade, and so that is what we have here.
Yes.
This looks, even from a distance, that it could be dyed.
It is.
Okay.
When jade is sold, they generally categorize it in a series of three, A, B, and C. A jade is absolutely original. It is just polished up and sold. B jade, they will bleach and stabilize. And C jade, which will probably be bleached and then dyed, that is that material there. It can still look absolutely beautiful. It'll still be durable. You're able to get the color that you otherwise would not ever be able to afford.
Okay, so this is type C jade. So
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about why we know that this is jadeite jade, and specifically why we know that it's type C jade.
Looking at the luster there, they've got glassy but not super lustrous shine to them. Probably not shining up quite as well as that. Those three, those are all quartzes. You should be able to see how tight the texture is. Texture is very important. Texture is one of the quality definers with jade. In the very best qualities, it should be absolutely smooth and perfect. But what really gets us is that green. I mean, that green is exactly what it's supposed to look like. Possibly under a microscope with really good light, you might even see concentrations of dye, but it's not necessarily the easiest way of doing it.
I love seeing all this jade, these jade simulants. It's so fun to be able to look at them side by side and talk about these key differentiators.
It really is. It may be sold as a jade simulant, but as people who just appreciate stones, there are qualities there that are special, that are unique. We appreciate that as much as anything.
Okay, so this, of course, is called an unboxing, but we haven't actually unboxed anything yet. But I do understand we have a box, and we're told that we have a clue. Okay, African jade, question mark? Oh, okay, that's so pretty.
It isn't jade, but it's hugely significant material. This is colloquially known as Butterstone. This is some of the oldest rock on Earth. This stuff comes from a part of the world actually where I used to live. This little corner of the world is geologically known as the Barberton Greenstone Belt.
So what corner of the world are we talking about here?
So we're talking about an area of South Africa kind of wedged between Mozambique and Eswatini. That whole area exposes some of the oldest rocks on Earth. This sort of material pushed to the surface is so important to geologists when they're trying to learn about how the Earth formed. Geologists looking at anything else is a bit like looking at cakes and cookies and bread and trying to learn about wheat. This is looking at wheat. This has not been recycled. It's not come up in volcanoes. It's not been subducted and mixed up and pushed up again. This is just some of those original layers. And what makes it super cool is in those dark layers.
I love that piece.
Right. So those dark layers are some of the original organic slimes that were the earliest life forms. I think 3.5 billion to 3.2 billion years old, this
Wow.
stuff.
I love that.
This is sometimes known as African jade, but you really wouldn't ever want to carve that up and cut it into anything.
These are really cool specimens and are actually for sale as well. And so we'll include the links in the descriptions. Like, talk about a piece of history.
I want to buy all of them.
Oh,
I had no
I
idea
have my
they
eye
had
on this.
stuff.
You better grab it before I get it because this is too cool. Okay, so we have one more surprise, and obviously neither of us has seen this yet, but what I do know is that was from your backyard, so to speak, and this is from our backyard. This is on loan to us by our friend Darlene from Earth's Core, so thank you, Darlene.
I had to lift it onto the table there, and it's certainly heavy. So.
I'm trying to find the tape. Oh, wow. Look at that. Okay, so what this again is from our backyard, found in the Tennessee River. And actually, this is a third of what was found. So this massive piece actually has 2 other components to it. And this is Nephrite jade. So Nephrite jade found in the Tennessee River.
Wow. That is pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing.
And you can feel just how solid.
Yes, it's solid. This color of green is so nice right here. So you can kind of see the similarities in color with the sphere and this piece.
What I love about Tennessee is you guys have some really fascinating stuff comes out that river.
So as you know, on this channel, we always take a closer look. I have to say, the Butterstone is my favorite. The quote,
yes.
African jade. I think the banding is really beautiful. Just such a great story. So this is my pick.
I'm going to go with what came out your backyard.
Hard not to.
This is quite something. Wow.
All right, so take a closer look. Okay, so as a reminder, a lot of this stuff represented on the table is for sale, and we'll put the links in the description, and let us know if you get any. Also, let us know in the comments which is your favorite, jade or one of its simulants. Of course, thank you to Charles for coming on the episode. Your knowledge is so deep about these. Tell Charles in the comments, thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. See you next time.